All right, hey guys. So for this new unit that we're going in, think of this kind of like a review. We're doing a lot of stuff that was from the beginning of the school year to kind of get your brains working and ready for next year. So what we're doing is we're combining functions. So, if that's something like f of x, and then, we're adding it to a different function like this. Or it might be a subtraction. We're going to start off with just addition and subtraction, and then the next lesson will get into more multiplication. So think of this entire unit. It's a pretty short one. It's only 3 lessons, so it'll just take us a couple weeks. Think of it more like a review, like an end of the year review, because these are the basics. These are kind of what's going to help you with a lot of other mathematical concepts. So this one shouldn't be too long, and it should be pretty easy. All right, combining functions with addition and subtraction. That's what we're doing. All right, so in this first example here, it says we can combine the functions that are similar to how we added and subtracted polynomials. So there's a function of x there, f of x, which is 3x plus 4. And then there is g of x right here, which is different, and that's x squared plus 2x plus 4. So it wants us to do it in 2 different ways. It wants us to add them together, and then it wants us to subtract them. So addition is a little bit more straightforward. What I would say to set this up is rewrite it. So we know f of x is 3x plus 4. I made that in purple. I also put parentheses around it just to separate it. So g of x is x squared plus 2x plus 4. And again, we're adding them in the middle. So once we're kind of at this point and we're adding, none of the signs are going to change. So we can go ahead and just look for our similar terms to combine them. So we know that 3x and 2x can combine. The variable is the same, and the exponent, there's no exponent, right? So 3x and 2x are right here. X squared can't combine with anything, so I just put it in order from the biggest exponent to the least. And we have a 4 plus a 4. So we get x squared, we get 5x, and we get 8 there. Nothing else can combine, so we are done. Addition is pretty straightforward. Now, when it comes to subtraction, this is where you need to keep in mind concepts about distribution, or how 2 negatives create a positive. So think back about that stuff. So again, we have f of x, which is 3x plus 4. And then we're going to subtract all of g of x. This is where creating the little parentheses kind of comes into handy here, because we're going to subtract not just the first term, but we're subtracting this one, and this one here. So if you see, my visual representation is kind of just like drawing arrows to each term. I also pointed out my like terms to combine. So this positive x squared becomes a negative x squared right here. We have a 3x minus a positive 2x, so 3x minus positive 2x. And then we have a 4 minus positive 4, so 4 minus 4. When we combine our terms, this comes down to negative x squared. 3x minus 2x gives me 1x, and 4 minus 4 gives me 0. When I combine all of that, I get negative x squared plus x, just because that's 1. It just makes it a little bit easier. Negative x squared plus x. Now, it might give you more of like a situation, a real-life situation. You'll often see this happen with concepts like profit, revenue, and cost. So the cost, think about a business that you have. The cost is what it takes to like create a product or stock your store, or if you're a restaurant, let's say, getting all the food and paying your employees. That's cost. Revenue is how much money you make, selling products or selling the food or whatever it is. Profit is when we take our total money made revenue and we subtract the cost. So after all is said and done, your profit is hopefully in the positives because you actually want to make money. So with this situation, it says freshman class is selling t-shirts to raise money. The cost of each custom designed t-shirt is $8. So the cost is $8. It also says there's a $45 fee just to create the design. The class then plans to sell the shirts for $12. So first thing we need to do is define the variable. So we're going to say that the variable X is the number of shirts sold. It wants the cost. It wants this part here. So the cost, if we look at this, the cost of each custom shirt is $8 per shirt plus a $45 fee just to design the shirt. So when we put that together, it's $45 plus $8 a shirt. So if you had 2 shirts that you wanted to create, it would be 8 times 2 plus the fee. So that's how we create the cost. Revenue is the money that you're getting from shirts being sold. They plan to sell the shirts for $12. So basically we have $12 per shirt sold. Shirts sold is X, and that's what this represents. Then it wants us to deal with profit. So we have the revenue minus the cost. The revenue is 12X. The cost is 45 plus 8X. And notice it's a subtraction problem. So this subtraction goes to the 45 and the 8X. So we're going to put everything down. 12X here, minus 45, and then minus 8X. We combine this term and this term. 12X minus 8X to get us 4X minus 45. So this right here is the function, the equation to figure out how much profit we're going to make based on the number of shirts sold. And remember, the concept here is basically that a negative and a negative makes a positive, right? So try to keep that in mind. All right. So this is just a kind of a simple one again, just like that first example we did. We have function of x is 2x squared plus 5x minus 1, and g of x is 6 minus 7x. So if we're going to add them together, I have my first function, I have my second function. I just showed this as a visual. It's being plus 6 and plus negative 7x. So, and remember, if it's a positive and negative, it's negative, right? So like terms, 2x squared is by itself. 5x minus 7x is going to give us negative 2x. And negative 1 plus 6 is going to give us 5. So this is our answer here. And then if we go to subtract them, that's where the signs are going to change after the subtraction sign. So again, that 2x squared just stays by itself. We have 5x plus 7x, because a negative and a negative makes it positive. And then we have a negative 1 minus 6. So combine your terms, 2x squared, 5x and 7x make 12x, and negative 1 and negative 6 make negative 7. Pretty simple. Last example, then I'm done. This one, it gives us 2 equations, one for cost, one for revenue. It says that they're doing a Valentine's Day fundraiser. The cost of each rose is $1.50, and the florist charges a delivery fee of $25. So the cost, remember, it's $1.50 per flower. In this case, X is going to be flowers. And then the 25 is our constant. That's that delivery fee of 25. then it says the class plans to sell the roses for $5. That's where the revenue comes into play. So for each flower, it costs $5. So it gives us that already, it doesn't need us to come up with it. And it just wants to know, write a profit function for how much the money was raised. So I kind of broke this down. C is cost, R is revenue, P is profit. Again, to find the profit, we take revenue, we subtract cost. So we're going to put it all together over here. The revenue is 5x right here. The cost function is 1.5x plus 25, which is from here. Because it's a subtraction problem, that gets distributed in 5x minus 1.5x, and then minus 25. That's where this comes into play right here. So 5x minus 1.5x is 3.5x, and then that negative 25 just stays. So that's how we find that, guys. That's all I got. The next lesson is going to be the same stuff, but with multiplication. And that's about it, guys. Have a good Monday and Tuesday.